What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
We're ready for Season 3 after binge-watching Ginny and Georgia in a single day. Is their story over now that we've been left on a big twist with more questions than answers? For Ginny and Georgia, nothing is ever as it seems, and the conclusion of Season 2 is a perfect example of this. The mother and daughter in the Netflix original series, Ginny and Georgia, struggle to fit into Wellsbury while keeping some of the very important secrets from their past. After a fight with Gil and Georgia and Paul's relationship on the rocks, there were indications that the Millers would be moving again by the end of Season 2, but it turned out very differently. Ginny and Georgia Season 2 is full of surprises, but the Netflix show manages to keep a few twists that will surprise viewers. Georgia and Paul's wedding is interrupted at the end of Ginny and Georgia Season 2 by Georgia's unexpected arrest for the murder of Cynthia's husband, Tom Fuller. Everyone in attendance is shocked by Georgia's arrest because even though Tom died earlier in Season 2, there didn't seem to be any suspicion of foul play. What will happen to Ginny and Austin Miller now that George has been arrested after caring for them for their entire lives? Ginny's biological father is Zeon, so it makes sense for her to remain with him. Despite not being Austin's biological father, Zeon is familiar with both children and even looked after them when they ran away from home at the end of Ginny and Georgia Season 1. It's difficult to predict with certainty whether Marcus and Ginny will reconcile in a later season of Ginny and Georgia. Both have significant inner issues that they need to overcome before they can even consider being in another relationship. Even though they're still in love with each other, they are determined to remain friends. Although Marcus and Ginny's relationship has triumphed over difficult situations in the past, the Season 2 finale purposely leaves their relationship's future unclear in the hopes that it will be thoroughly explored in a subsequent season. With Netflix's show renewal criteria in mind, can applying these patterns to Ginny and Georgia help determine whether or not it'll be renewed for Season 3? If the massive viewership for Ginny and Georgia Season 1 is any indication, then the Netflix show will likely do well in Season 2. The fact that Netflix's Ginny and Georgia has already completed a second season is an excellent sign, considering how frequently shows are canceled after their first season. Because of its history of solid viewership and its binge-worthy plot, Ginny and Georgia has a good chance of being renewed. What does that imply for Ginny and Georgia's third season? Although Netflix has recently been a little too quick to act, given how Georgia's wedding ended, we doubt the show will end there permanently. A second season of Ginny and Georgia was announced on April 19, 2021, nearly 2 months after the first season of the show was released on February 24, 2021. That would imply that it's quite likely Netflix will hold off on announcing a third season until the end of March 2023. Given that the Season 2 was almost 2 years in the making, we don't have high expectations for a speedy third season. If we're lucky, maybe by the middle of 2024? Before we go any further, we wanted to let you know that it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. If the new season is approved, you can expect all of your favorites to reprise their roles. This includes Antonia Gentry and Brianne Howey as Ginny and Georgia, respectively. Of course, there's the adorable Diesel Torraca as Austin, who will undoubtedly return, Felix and Sarah as Marcus and Max Baker, Raymond as Joe, and Scott Porter as Mayor Paul will be joined by Sabrina as Cynthia Fuller, Nathan Mitchell as Zeon, Humberly Gonzalez as Sophie, and Aaron Ashmore as Gil. Keep in mind the actors from the flashback scenes, led by Nikki and Kyle as Georgia Miller and Zeon Miller in their adolescent years. When we thought that Georgia and Paul's town hall wedding would be the perfect way for Season 2 to come to an end, it was ruined when the PI Gabrielle and the police interrupted the first dance and arrested Georgia for the murder of Cynthia's husband, Tom Fuller. Georgia finally came to light for the most recent offense, the one with the real witness of all the crimes she had previously committed. Unfortunately, that witness was her son Austin, who ran off behind the police car that was transporting his mother to jail after assuring Ginny that he didn't tell anyone. Paul and Ginny are confused, but we are aware that Austin witnessed everything. If there is a Season 3, Austin will likely have to decide whether to reveal what he knows or not. Georgia is most likely to be the primary plotline for Season 3. Do they have enough proof to find her guilty of the murder? Will they find any additional information regarding the other murder she's committed? Will she be imprisoned? Just based on Georgia's arrest, there are so many threads that the show needs to explore. How can Georgia avoid being being locked up. Will Paul still support her and the kids? Has the arrest ruined his chances of winning a re-election? What is the current situation between Cynthia and Georgia? Now that Ginny and Austin are aware of the whole truth regarding their mother's past, how are they going to react? Gil is another issue. He intends to pursue custody of Austin and is most likely trying to take advantage of Georgia's detention. The series will also need to strike a balance between all of its central relationships, such as the ongoing friendship between Georgia and Joe and Ginny and Marcus after their breakup. Will Joe and Georgia ever take their feelings for one another seriously, or will Joe simply continue whining like a big old softie? Ginny and Marcus may not be together anymore, but they are still close friends. Season 3 might focus on their friendship, whether or not they reconcile, or even taking a closer look at Ginny's potential new romance and how it might impact Marcus. The majority of Georgia's past is revealed to Paul in Season 2 finale, but some of the most significant details, like the more horrible acts she committed or her real name, are kept from her new husband. It's difficult to predict whether Paul will learn any of these Georgia Miller-related details in a potential Season 3, but as of right now, his knowledge of Georgia Miller is still lacking. Paul is aware that Georgia was married before she arrived in Wellsbury in Ginny and Georgia, but Georgia has not informed him of her second marriage. Georgia was married to Anthony Green prior to marrying Kenny. Though not much is known about Georgia's relationship with Anthony, it is a significant portion of her history that Paul is still unaware of. More details about Georgia's first marriage will probably surface in Ginny and Georgia Season 3 as a result of Georgia's arrest, given that he has already been thoroughly looking into Georgia's past, including Anthony Green's disappearance. Georgia's name isn't even Georgia, which is one of the most important things Paul is still in the dark about. The first seasons of Ginny and Georgia reveals that Georgia's name is Mary. Georgia's half-sister Maddie lives in Wellsbury in Season 1 of the Netflix series, which leads to more information being revealed about Georgia's previous life as Mary, but much of it remains unknown to Paul outside of Maddie's existence. Georgia never tells Paul the significance of the name Mary that Ginny torments her within Ginny and Georgia Season 2. It'll be interesting to see how Paul would react if Georgia tells Paul about her past now that they're married. Do you think Paul could manage all that? And because of this, you need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. Additionally, there are several ongoing storylines that could be expanded upon in Season 3, such as Ginny and Abby's struggles with their mental health and Max's new relationship. Assuming Netflix decides to renew it, Season 3 has a ton of potential storylines for Ginny and Georgia to investigate, ranging from significant events like Georgia's arrest to more minor ongoing plots. We'll see you in the next video.